Tacoma. Welcome back to TV Teaching for 2nd grade. Today is Friday, October 16th, and I'm Mrs. Oslin. Before we get started with our writing lesson, let's take a moment to check in with our zones. Think about, what emotion are you feeling? Use this chart to help you. If you're not sure what emotion you're feeling, you can always check in with what's happening in your brain or what's happening with your body. We've been practicing using I messages to express our emotions to someone else so that they know what we're feeling and if they can help us. You'll remember an I message sounds like, I feel because So take a moment and think of your I message. Now I'm going to model sharing my I message with Gus. Gus, I'm feeling excited because it's Friday, which means it's the weekend and I get to relax and watch football. Now, 2nd graders, you share your I message with someone around you or your learning buddy. Go ahead. You'll also remember that this week we've been practicing having an attitude of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude is when we think about the things that we're thankful and grateful for. And this can really help our brains if we're not feeling like we're in the green zone. But if we think about something that brings us joy, it can help push us into the green zone so that we are ready to learn. So take some think time and think about what in your life makes you happy or joyful. You can use another I message that sounds like, I'm thankful for, because, I'll model with Gus. Gus, I'm thankful for the change of the weather in fall because it starts to get colder out, which means that I can wear more sweaters and sweatshirts. Now, 2nd graders, you share your attitude of gratitude. Now that we're practiced with our gratitude, we are ready for our writing lesson. What you will need today are your learning buddy. I have Gus. You might have another stuffed animal or a pet rock, or maybe there's someone at home that you can do some thinking and speaking with. You will also need your ELA packet, a pencil, and your writing notebook. So get those 4 materials and meet me over at the screen. Today, writers, I want to teach you how to describe why your writing ideas are special to you. Now, we've been working really hard on coming up with small moments or memories to inspire our writing. Now I want you thinking about why are those memories, why are those special things in your life so important to you? So we're going to do some reading and some thinking and speaking so that we can write about the people and places and things that are special in our lives. So think about, who is special to you? Do you have a special place or a special thing that's really important to you? Take some think time. Now keep those things in mind as we read our story today that's going to help us think about why our special people, places, or things are special to us. You'll remember we read The Best Story by Eileen Spinelli, and we learned about the character who was entering a writing contest. And she asked advice about how to write the best story from all of her family members. But the problem is that she was writing her stories based on what her family told her makes a good story, not based on what was important or special to her as a person. so she had a really hard time making connections with her story. So we're going to quickly read through this book so that we can start to do our own writing about what is special or important to us. Now, you'll remember our character went to the library, and that's where she first heard about the writing contest. And the winner of the writing contest was a ride on the Super Duper Looper roller coaster with her favorite author, Anne Miles. So she was motivated. I ran home, went to my room, shut the door. I sharpened 5 pencils, opened my notebook to a brand new page, and thought, and thought, and thought. And all I could think was this writing stuff was hard and lonely. Maybe I needed help. Now, our character has all of her writing supplies, like a strong writer, and she's ready to go, and she's doing the very first step in the writing process, which is thinking. And she can't come up with an idea of what to write about. This is when the character starts to ask their family for ideas. I told my brother Tim about the contest. The best stories, said my brother Tim, have lots of action. So I wrote a lot of action into my story. I wrote about a bus hurtling down the highway with no one at the wheel. I added a tornado and a pirate and a great white shark. But the story didn't seem quite right. Now, this story doesn't seem quite right to our character because it's not their idea. It's not about things or people or places that are special to them. So she doesn't feel right. So I asked my dad, and he said, the best stories have plenty of humor. So I changed the great white shark to a monkey, and I put the monkey at the wheel of the bus. And I turned the tornado into turnips, and I dressed the pirate in polka-dotted pajamas. Dad laughed so hard he popped a shirt button. Even so, this story didn't feel quite right either. And again, it's because the character is writing about things and people and places that are important for the people around her, but she doesn't have a connection to them. So they're just not going to feel right. Along came Aunt Jane. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I'm writing a story, the best story, for a contest at the library. I can win a roller coaster ride with my favorite author." "Oh, well then," said Aunt Jane, "here's all you need to know. The best stories are the ones that make people cry." So I gave the bus a flat tire, I sent the monkey to the funeral of his pet goldfish, I turned the turnips into onions, and I made the pirate chop every one. There were lots of tears, but the story still wasn't right. My teenage cousin Annika said, "I have news for you. If it's not romantic, it's a loser." So the pirate introduced the monkey to his sister Grace, and they fell in love. And I turned the onions into wedding invitations, and everyone lived happily ever after. Finally, my story was ready, so I read it to my family. "Not enough action," said my brother Tim. "Maybe the monkey can fall into the wedding cake," said Dad. "That would be really funny." "It's hard to cry at a wedding when the groom is a monkey," said Aunt Jane. Annika said it would be perfect if I added a kiss. In all this time, my mother hadn't said a word, so I asked her, "What do you think is the best story?" She gave me a hug. "I think the best story is one that comes from the heart, your own heart." Now here our character is getting advice from their mother. And the mother is saying, "I think the best story is one that comes from the heart, your own heart." So the mom is encouraging the child to write about things that are special and precious to her, so that she is more connected to the story. That night after supper, I looked into my own heart and rewrote my story. No more monkey, no more pirate, no more wedding invitations, no more happily ever after. My new best story is about my family and my two best friends, Tara and Josh. It's about my cat Ollie, who sleeps on his back, and snow days and toast with strawberry jam. It's about fireworks and rainbows and new bikes. So now we're learning about what is really important and special to the character. Her new story is about her family, her best friends, her cat, snow days, toast with jam, fireworks, rainbows, bike rides. These are all things that are important and precious and special to the character. And she can explain why they're special and precious to her. And that's going to make for a stronger piece of writing because the author really feels a connection and really feels strongly about the things that are special. My biggest problem was keeping the story short. Once I started pulling things out of my heart, it was hard to stop. When my story was finished, I turned it in to the judges. Maybe I'll win the roller coaster ride with Anne Miles, and maybe I won't. Either way, I'll be happy. I'll be a winner because the story I wrote is my own, not somebody else's, and that makes it the best. So I'm going to remind you that the character in our story thought about the people and the things that were special and precious to her. So I want you to take a moment and think about who are the people or the places or the things that are special to you. Take some think time. Now, in your ELA packet is this chart called What's in My Heart? And I want you to find it now. The first 3 hearts at the top say person. In those 3 hearts, I want you to think about who is a person that is special or precious to you. And think about why are they special and precious to you. So I'm going to model that now. I'm going to draw a picture of Mr. Oslin. And Mr. Oslin is special and precious to me because he's my partner in life. He helps me take care of our kids. He helps me take care of our house. He helps me and supports me so that I can be here with you today. He's really special and precious to me, and I can write a lot about him. Think about who is special and precious to you, and go ahead and draw and write their name in one of your hearts. While you do that, I'm going to add on to my other hearts. Now, I've added 2 more people into my second heart. I've added Max and Charlie, Those are my kids. They're very special and precious to me because they're my kids. I made them, and I spend a lot of time working with them, helping them become strong members of our community. So I could write a lot about them and feel very connected. Now, you fill up one of your other hearts about a person, or the last two hearts could be about a place. Now, I've added into one of my person hearts a picture of Mitch, my dog. And while he's not a person, he's still really special and precious to me. He greets me when I come home. He gives me love when I need it. He brings me a lot of joy and happiness. So he's really special to me. So I could write a lot about Mitch. Now, I'm going to think of a place that I could write about that's special and precious to me, while you continue adding to your graphic organizer what is in your heart. The place that I've added that is special and precious to me is Cle Elum. Some of my family has a house out there, and we go with our entire family out there and spend lots and lots of time together as a family. We go on walks. It's where we go cross-country skiing, and we go on bike rides. And it's where Mr. Oslin and I floated the Yakima River this summer. It's a place that's really special to me because it's where I get to spend time with my family. So writers, your job is to fill up your hearts with people and places that are special and precious to you. Then, during your independent writing time today, you're going to select one or a couple of these things, and that's what you're going to write about in your writer's notebook. Make sure that you use your Snap Words book to help you spell your snap words correctly when you're writing. You're also going to continue to build your independent reading stamina, reading for longer and longer periods of time. Please do send in your writing samples to your teacher and to me if you can, so that we can have them here on TV teaching and talk about your ideas and your thinking. Now, this is going to be your 5-minute break. And in between your reading and writing and your math lesson, you have some jobs to do. You're going to go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, stretch your legs. And then you're also going to gather your materials to be ready to go for math. What you will need that I want you to go get during this 5-minute break is your whiteboard or paper with something to write with, and your learning buddy. And when you come back, you'll be all ready to go for math with Mrs. Wally. Thank you so much for thinking and speaking and writing with me today. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Bye, second graders.
Hi, second graders, welcome back. Today's Friday Fact Day. So, for our number talk, we're going to go quickly through some facts.
I'm sorry, Miss Wally.
Yes?
Yeah.
Is that better? Oh, thank you, Mr. Kevin. I don't want that to hurt your ears at home. We fixed the necklace. Whew. So, we're going to do Fact Fun Friday. Now, I want you to know these in a snap, but if you don't know them in a snap, then I'm going to teach you some ways to pull the numbers apart to make it quicker than trying to count all your fingers and toes. So, do you know what 8 plus 5 is? If not, I think about the 8, and I know that 5 and 5 is 10, and 3 more is 13. So 8 plus 5 is 13. Let's do the next one. You may write these on your board if you'd like. 6 plus 8. Well, 6 and 6 is 12, and 2 more is 14. Oh, what was that, Gus? Gus said, Mrs. Wally, I did it different. I took 1 from the 8 and made it a 7, and I put it with the 6 and made it a 7, and 7 plus 7 is 14. Ooh, that was a good way to do it, Gus. Nice job. 8 plus 9. What's 8 plus 8? And 1 more? 17. Pebble, what was that? Pebble said, Mrs. Wally, I did it different. I did 9 plus 9 is 18, and 8 is 1 less. And 1 less than 18 is 17. Great job, Pebble. 6 plus 7. You try it. Do you want to do the doubles plus 1 or the doubles minus 1? What answer did you get? 13. Excellent job. You might have thought 6 plus 6 is 12 and 1 more is 13. Or you might have thought 7 plus 7 is 14 minus 1 is 13. The great thing about numbers is we can be really flexible with them and move them around to help us solve. 9 plus 7. Ooh. What do you notice about the 9 and the 7? The 9 is 2 more than the 7. What was that, Gus? Make the 9 an 8 and make the 7 an 8. Now, some of you might be going, I don't understand how that works. So let's draw a picture. 9 and 7. What Gus is saying is we can take this and put it over here. And now we have 8 and 8. And what's 8 plus 8? 16. How awesome is that? Okay. Today, we're doing more graphing, and I'm so excited. We started yesterday. So today, we're going to start by practicing counting up some data. Now, do you know what this means? When you see these tally marks, what does that mean? Private think time. What do tally marks mean? Like, what is this right here? What does that mean? Do you know? Some students may know. Some students may have never seen it before. What it means is 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What it allows us to do, instead of counting each one, when we see this with the slash, we know it's 5. So we can say 5, 6. So how many tally marks are in this row? 6. What about the next row? How many tally marks? 4. The next row, how many tally marks? 5. How many tally marks altogether? Freeze. No counting on your fingers. Look at the numbers. Do you see any that make 10? I do. 10 and 5 more is 15. So how many tally marks are there? You got it, 15. Okay, now look at all of these words. Oh my. You know, Mr. Kevin, I said I wasn't going to go to my whiteboard, but I think I'm going to go to my whiteboard because, friends, I want you to be able to see what I'm drawing. So as I'm going over to my whiteboard, you're going to be reading this problem, and then we will start looking at what we need to do and pulling it apart to figure out what it wants us to do. So it says, Lynn visits an apple orchard. She looks at one row of trees. She writes down the color of the apples on each tree. Show one way that Lynn could organize the data, then make a graph to show the data. Okay, so we need to do two things. We need to have a table with data in it and a graph. So let's start with the table with data. So what do we see about her data? It says red, red, yellow, green, red, green, red, red, yellow, red, green, green. What kind of colors did she see? So we're going to make a table. So you're going to draw a rectangle. And what do we want to title this? Apple colors? Okay. Apple colors. Okay. So now, what are our apple colors? What do we have? Red, yellow, green. How are we going to collect this data? You might go and count all the word reds and then write the number. And then all the yellow. That's one way. What's another way we could do it? Think back to what we just did. We looked at tallies. So what I like to do is I like to go through my data and I like to tally it up. And then when I've done one of them, I cross it off so I keep track of what I'm doing. So if I say red, I put a red tally. Go ahead, make a tally. And then this one, where are we going to put the tally? Red. Where are we going to put the tally for this one? Yellow. This helps me keep track and not lose track of my data. What about this one? A green. A red. What's this one? Green. A red. A red. Oh, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make the slash to 5. A yellow. A red. A green. Whoops. And a green. I'm doing that with my left hand, so it's kind of tricky. Are we done? Well, we're done with our table of data. Now we need to graph it. Now, yesterday, there were two kinds of graphs, a picture graph or a bar graph. Which one do you think we should do? Okay. We'll do a bar graph. So we have up to 6. So I'm going to make some lines. This is going to be 1, 2. If you want to do a picture graph, you are welcome to do that. 3, 4, 5. I'm actually going to go one more than 6. 6, 7. Now my graph needs a title. What's our title? Apple colors. Okay, and what are our 3 bars going to be? Red, yellow, green. Okay, let's do red. How many? Where do I draw to? Okay, go ahead, make your bar all the way to 6, or draw your 6 red apples for your picture graph. Then you color it in. Red. Okay. Yellow. How many yellow? 2. Yellow. How many green? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Look at that. What a great graph we have. Look at that. You can organize your data in a tally chart. Is that what we did? You ready? Oh, another way to do it is in a table. So you can do the tally chart, or we could even switch it into a table. And this will say color, number of trees. Now here's my question. Was it a red tree or red apples? Oh, it's the color of the apple and the number of trees. Okay. So she wasn't counting how many red apples there were. She was how many apple trees of that color there was. So we might want to think about our title of our graph. It says apple colors. Maybe it should be apple tree colors because we're counting the trees, right? And then maybe this should be, I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, I think this should be red, yellow, and this should be trees, the number of trees, not the number of apples. Yeah? Okay, so what number goes here? 6, 2, 4. We revised our thinking. Mathematicians revise their thinking as they're going. Strong mathematicians do not just get the right answer. They look at their work, they keep thinking, and they make sure it makes sense. And when it doesn't, they revise their thinking. Okay. So it says, complete the picture graph by coloring in the apples. So I'm going to go back to the board and we're going to do it on the smart board because we've done our little graph here. Now let's go finish coloring it in. So meet me on over at the smart board. So it says, complete the picture graph by coloring the apples. So how many yellow apples am I going to color? Our table said 2. Look at your table on your board. Make sure you didn't erase it. How many apples am I going to color for yellow? 2. 1, 2. Okay. What about green? How many am I going to fill in for green? Look at your table. How many did we say were green? 4. Ready? Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then it says on the bar graph, fill in the title and labels. Okay. So I'm going to write in pen for the title and labels. So this picture graph says apple orchard trees. So the bar graph should say apple. And we did that we said apple tree colors, right? Orchard. Trees. Would you put something like my favorite sports? I've seen students do that before. They do all this data and then they title it and they pick some random title that has nothing to do with the data. Your title has to match the data so that the person reading your graph, just like when you write a story about a biking trip or your favorite pet, you would want to make sure that the title matches the story. Otherwise, if you title it My Favorite Pet, and then the story is all about the time you went to the beach, your reader's going to be really confused, right? Just like with your graphs. If your title says, My Favorite Holidays, but then we're talking about apple trees, people are going to be very confused, right? Okay, so we've got the label. Now we need to fill in, or the title, now we need to fill in the labels. We had red. What do we have on this graph right here? Yellow. Okay. And then what's the last one? Green. Okay. Complete the bar graph by coloring the bars. Now, third graders, how do I know what to color? You could look at our table. What else could you look at? You can look at the picture graph, can't you? So yellow, how many yellow apples are there? 2, and that should match your table. So how many squares am I going to fill in? 2. Here I go. Now my coloring's not perfect because I'm coloring on a smart board. But if I was coloring on paper, I would want to be really careful to stay inside the lines, but I don't have as much control over that here on the smartboard. Okay? Then what are we going to do for the green? The trees with green apples. How many are there? 4. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's the 4. Here we go. I'm going to go down. I'm going to color it in. Here we go. I'm going to try to not make it squeak because I know that sound can be pretty annoying. Oh, look, if I go slow like this, it's not as loud. Interesting. You learn something new every day. Okay. Almost there. Okay. Are my graphs complete now? Does my data match? Does it match your table? Does it match the picture graph? Does it match the bar graph? Nice job, second graders. Now, we're going to make a bar graph for this set of data, and I want you to make one on your whiteboard. So go ahead and draw this part. We're going to put the labels in. I'm going to get my pen. Here we go. Title, favorite color. Favorite color. This is in your workbook, and I'm not sure what page it's on, so you could look and see if you can find it if you have that handy, but you can just do it on your whiteboard. That's fine too. We have blue, purple, green, and red. Okay, blue, purple, green, and red. So now I need to graph them. Blue. How far up are we going to go for blue? How far up? Look at our table. How far? 5. I'm going to find 5. I'm going to go up to 5. It's harder when I don't have the blocks, isn't it? And I'm going to color it in. You know what I wish I could do, friends? I wish I could make that thing go sideways. It'd be much easier to fill it all in. I'm going to fill it all in because it's important with graphs that this is solid. So thank you for being patient. You should be filling yours in as well. Okay, that's 5. Oop, I'm going to erase part of that. I don't know if it's going to let me do just this part, because I want to make sure that I'm right at that line of 5. That's important in graphs. I think that's as good as I'm going to get right now. Now purple, how many purples? 6. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to that line, and I'm going to go down to my purple. For time, because we're running out of time, that's what I'm going to do. But normally you would color it all the way in. Green, how many? 3. So I'm going to go to 3. And I want you to do red. How many for red? Look at the table. How many would you draw? 2. Awesome. Then we can make a picture graph, but we're running out of time, so we're going to move on. Your assignment for today is going to be doing more of this work in your workbook. So it's page 91 and 92, which means those other pages were like 89 and 90. And you can go finish that work if you would like to, if you have extra time, but you don't have to. You need to do pages 91 and 92. Make sure that you get that work sent in either to us here at the TV classroom or checked off with your teacher at your school, okay? I'm really excited to see all your graphs. I love graphing, it's super fun. Today, we learned how to take data and put it onto a picture graph or a bar graph. How are you feeling about that? Do you feel like I'm understanding how to take the data and put it onto the graph? I'm starting to understand it, but I'm not quite there where I don't get it, I'm really confused. If you're really confused, if that's you, that's okay. What I want you to do is when you check in with your teacher this week, to have a conversation about these workbook pages and graphing with them. Okay? Awesome. Meet me up at the camera for our affirmation. All right, second graders. It's important for you to remember that you matter. And I know we've done this one a few times, but that's how important it is. You matter to all the people around you. You matter to your teachers. You matter to your family. You matter to your friends. You matter to people in the community. So we have to practice that. So everyone take a deep breath. And it's my turn. I matter. Your turn. Excellent work. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.